their lives saved or improved. And the reason for that is very, very simple. No Food and Drug Administrator has ever been pilloried for not approving a drug which was potentially capable of saving many lives. Any Food and Drug Administrator is bound to be pilloried for making the other mistake. As a result, the food and drug people, naturally, in their own interest, not because they're mean or nasty or unfeeling or anything like that. They're perfectly humane, decent people. But they are, after all, concerned with their own interests, as we all are. And as a result, they have a bias in favor of holding up good drugs in order to avoid the possibility of a mistake of approving a bad one. The result is that there are many effective drugs which are available in Canada, in Britain, and elsewhere, which cannot be purchased by people in the United States, but which might very well save their lives. Obviously, the purpose of the Food and Drug Administration is a good one. The question in all of these cases is whether it achieves that purpose or has perverse effects, and I believe the Food and Drug Administration has bad effects.
Milton Walter Heller indicated that he would like to see some modifications in the minimum wage law, some exceptions made, lower rates for younger people and so on. What would you do about the minimum wage law if you could?
I would abolish it. There's no justification for the minimum wage law whatsoever. It's always been a mystery to me why a young black teenager is better off unemployed at $2.40 an hour than he would be being employed at $2 an hour. It doesn't do him any good to have a high wage rate if he doesn't have any work.
Milton, as you remember, I heard you present that series of lectures that eventuated in the publication Capitalism and Freedom. And one of the central themes in your lectures and in that publication is the close relationship between economic freedom and the other aspects of freedom. And, of course, this is a point that is made throughout the film The Incredible Bread Machine. And I want to ask you, and in fact you who helped to script The Incredible Bread Machine, what are you frightened about? The process has been going on. We've had an ever-increasing role for government and economic life, yet our political freedoms still seem to be secure.
Are they really secure? Was the political freedom of that Amish farmer secure?
Well, eventually...
Eventually,
we provided a way to exempt him from that process. But again, you and I are still free to do our complaining.
Are we? Do you suppose that there is any professor of medicine at any major medical school in this country who would not think 3 times before getting up and making a speech against socialized medicine, given that his research is being financed by the National Institutes of Health? How many businessmen have you heard who have been willing to get up and talk publicly in opposition to governmental programs?
But, Milton, I've also heard you say that one reason the businessman is not speaking against these programs is that he honestly has come to believe in them.
Some of them have. And, of course, those who don't believe in them get eliminated by the force of competition. Because in order to survive as a major businessman today, an important characteristic has to be not your ability to produce, not your ability to sell, not your ability to meet public demand, but your ability to get your way in Washington. And the law of survival, just pure Darwinian survival, means that increasingly top businessmen are becoming people who are adept at politics, who know their way around Washington, and who, of course, as a result of familiarity with it, get to be in favor of it. But I go back to your question of whether economic controls has interfered with personal freedom. I think it's all the way up and down the line that you have enormous restrictions on political and economic freedom today. The only reason they're not more extreme is because of the one saving grace, and that is the inefficiency of government. Thank God that government wastes most of the money it spends, because if it were really spending it efficiently, we wouldn't have an iota of our freedom left.